you're mad still. Sometimes you're hurt still. Hey there, it's Brittany XOXO, and welcome to my channel. This is where I share my journey, life's ups and downs, and all the things in between. So stay a while. Today, I wanted to talk about something that a lot of co-parents face, and that's navigating the holiday season with their kids splitting time between homes. And it's not an easy thing. The holidays are hard enough as it is, just sometimes getting those holiday blues, missing those loved ones who are no longer with us, dealing with financial constraints. And so, just dealing with the whole co-parenting thing on top of it can make it sometimes like a really, really difficult season for people who are going through a divorce or who have been divorced for a while and still trying to manage it, or even people who haven't been divorced but have had a breakup in a relationship and are having to balance that relationship co-parenting with their kids. And it's different and it's new and it changes all the time, and I think it's important to talk about. I myself have been divorced for the past 6 years, and I have two children from my relationship with my ex husband. I also have an older son who's 19, and he was from a high school relationship. But my two daughters, they're 11 and 7, and we've been dealing with this co parenting journey for a majority of their life. I don't even think my youngest baby was a year old. She wasn't even a year old when me and her dad split up. She was a little baby. Well, not a little baby, but she was barely walking. And so she doesn't know anything different. And also, speaking from my experience, my parents were divorced for majority of my life. My parents split up when I was about 5 years old, and so we would split time between my dad in California and my mom, and we lived in Texas. And so just looking at it through that lens, I was able to see a lot of things that my mom did, and then becoming an adult and a parent myself, taking that and like, okay, this is how co-parenting should work. I never remember my mother making it to where we couldn't see our dad, even though he lived in a different state. We would go fly. Back then, we could fly on an airplane by ourselves, which is so wild to me to think of, because I can't imagine putting Skylar and Sydney on a plane by themselves. Like, they be fighting and fussing in the house with me and crying. So me and my sister had to have been like, I'm gonna say like 7 and 5, maybe 8 and 6, flying on an airplane across the country. And it was fine. It's a different time. Like, I don't ever remember being afraid. I remember being excited. I remember going to spend time with my dad in California and just having great Christmases. I remember my mom always making Christmases just so special for us. And even when we moved back to California, I remember being excited about having two Christmases. Like, I don't ever remember being sad or anything about us not all being together for the holidays. Not even saying that that wasn't the case. It could have been the case. But from what I recall, remember being like, we get two Christmases, so it's fine. We get double the presents, so it's fine. I don't want them back together. But I don't know how my girls feel about it, honestly. They're so used to it at this point. Like I said, it has been 6 years. And so if they do feel any type of sadness or any type of way about it, they don't express that. And I will say that me and my ex do our best to try to keep things the same and keep things amicable and communicate and make sure that things aren't just so different that they're like, I wish I was with my mom or I wish I was with my dad. Like, we communicate pretty well. We compromise. Like, if I have something I want them to do or take them somewhere for the holidays, he's open to it. And same for him. If he wants to do something special with them for the holidays, or somebody's having an event or something like that, I am sure to let him know, and I'm sure to invite him to things that they have at the school, dance performances, things like that. So we definitely communicate and do our best to try to make sure that our kids are still enjoying the holidays the same as if we were still together as one single family unit. Some challenges of co-parenting during the holiday season. Because there are challenges. It is not all roses and rainbows. It's hard. It's bittersweet. So for me, the hardest thing is I miss my babies. I miss my girls so much. It is so difficult, like waking up. Christmas specifically. Thanksgiving is a little bit different. We also alternate Thanksgiving. So this year was my year to have them for Thanksgiving, and then he gets them for Christmas. And so Christmas for me, like waking up on Christmas morning and not having little kids wake me up, little girls waking me up, asking can they open their presents before it's even light outside. Like, it's hard. I remember the first Christmas that they spent with their dad, and I think I laid in bed till like 2 o'clock. I remember just being so sad and just feeling so bored. Like my son, he's older. He don't care as much. He don't even have like a list of things he wants. I can give him money and he's fine. So not having the girls there to do the things that we usually do for Christmas is difficult and it's sad. I remember I think I didn't cry the whole morning, but I do remember laying in bed and just kind of I cried a little bit and then I think I read a book just to kind of keep me distracted. Of course, they FaceTime me and they opened their presents and I saw them later in the day. But I remember that first Christmas, not even just that first Christmas, most Christmases when they are with their dad, they're pretty difficult. So Christmas is hard. Kids and Christmas is different. Like I love Christmas. Like I have always loved Christmas. I remember one Christmas my mom having so many presents that they covered the entire floor. My cousins were over as well, so it was 5 kids, and I remember waking up Christmas morning and just being in awe of all the gifts. Even though Christmas isn't just about gifts, but as a child, that's just a memory that's always stuck with me. And then also I remember my mom the last Christmas before she passed away, and she bought us so many things that we wanted. I remember she bought us, which it's gonna sound crazy, y'all. It's kind of showing my age, but she bought us a microwave, and me and my sister was so excited about this microwave. It was a microwave. I remember I got a windbreaker. Remember we had windbreakers. It was a 49er windbreaker, and then I remember that we had a TV with a VCR attached to it, baby. That TV with the VCR, you could not tell us nothing. We had a TV in our room with the VCR. And I just remember being so excited. And so those are like the Christmas memories that I remember. And unfortunately, shortly after that last Christmas, my mom passed away less than a month after that. So those material things didn't even matter. But it's just the fact that I remember her going through all this stuff trying to hide the gifts from us. I remember we found the microwave, like when she opened her trunk, we saw it. And so just having those memories is important and it's special. And it's kind of different when you're splitting the holidays with your ex and trying to make sure that those holidays and that those memories are still there and that they still mean the same thing. And another hurdle is actually figuring out how to split up that time. So, my ex and I, we follow the standard Texas custody agreement. We we make compromises, we both do, but for the most part, we follow it by the book. Therefore, there isn't any arguments. There isn't no, well, I wanted to have them this year. You had them this year. I want to do this. No, we just we keep it simple. We follow the standard custody agreement, and so there isn't a lot of room for arguments. That works for us. Also, though, we do make compromises. The girls and I do certain things for Christmas Eve. And so instead of this year, I don't have them for Christmas Eve. And so we did all that stuff before they left with their dad. We made our gingerbread house. We went to the movies and watched the movie. We made hot cocoa. We did our hot cocoa bar. Those are things that we do every year for Christmas, regardless of whether it's my year or their dad's year. So just making sure that even though we are splitting that time and they are going from house to house, we are keeping up those same traditions and making sure that the girls understand that it's still Christmas. It just look a little different this year. Another challenge is communicating. Communicating. I'll repeat that. Communicating because it's not always easy. When you are in a situation where you're divorced or not even divorced but broken up, split up, whatever, emotions run high. So in the beginning, I'll admit it was very difficult just kind of figuring out how to communicate because sometimes you're mad still, sometimes you're hurt still, sometimes there's egos, sometimes there's other people involved. Your ex may be in a relationship or you may be in a relationship and the other party feels a certain way about it. And so all of that kind of gets in the way of communication. So just remembering to keep in mind that kids are the priority. So that's something that I have to remind myself no matter how I may feel about, well, you should already know that. You should already know. We did this before. This is our 6th year doing this. I shouldn't have to tell you. Just making sure that you communicate, because it's difficult, and not allowing lack of communication to get in the way is something that I try to keep in the forefront of dealing with co-parenting during the holidays. My kids are my main focus. So it does not hurt to go the extra mile, which it be feeling like a mile, but reaching out and being like, hey, did you see the email? There's going to be performance on this day. Sydney wants you to come. Skylar wants you to come. And texting and calling and having those conversations about the holidays and the holiday plans. And hey, I wanted to see if I could still get them for Christmas Eve this year. I know that's your time, but they want to go to the movies, they want to do this, they want to do this. Is this okay? So that's something we did. Me and the girls, we went and saw Wicked, and it was supposed to be his time, but I communicated that with him. He was fine with that. He was flexible. He came and got them the next day, and it wasn't an issue. And so just making sure that we keep those lines of communication open and not allowing our egos to get in the way, our attitudes to get in the way, our feelings of anger, our feelings of hurt, our feelings of annoyance, not allowing any of that to get in the way, and making sure we're keeping those lines of communication open and being flexible. The challenge I face is sometimes managing other people's opinions and their thoughts on my co-parenting relationship. Sometimes people, they mean well, they're trying to be helpful, but they don't understand, and that's okay. They don't have to understand. It is not about them. It's about what's best for my girls. It's what's best for my sanity and what works for me. I don't like to argue a lot. And so a lot of times it's a pick and choose your battles type of situation with co-parenting. I don't want to have to be going back and forth about every single thing. And it's been 6 years for us, and it's really gotten to a point where we don't have to go back and forth about every single thing. There was a time where there was a lot of arguments. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lack of communication because I just didn't want to talk about it because I felt like it was going to be an argument. I have them a majority of the time. So it's basically, if I say it's going to be this, it's going to be this. And so I really had to kind of let go of a lot of that, trying to control every single thing that went on, especially when they were with their dad. This is somebody that I was married to. This is somebody that at one point in life I felt like I wanted to have a family with them, and I trusted them. And so now having to let go of some of that control because I trusted this person enough to lay down and have 2 kids with them, so he can make decisions for them as well. And I'm telling you, letting go of that feeling like I have to control every single thing has been such a blessing and has really helped our co-parenting relationship. Now, there are times, I'm not gonna lie, there are times where the girls will come home and they'll tell me something and I have to be like, hey, they told me this, what's going on? Or, do I need to do this? Or what can we do to make this better? Because whatever that's going on over there, I don't like that. And so we've gotten to a point where we're able to have those conversations and make those resolutions. And we don't want there to be drama when it comes to raising these 2 little girls. Like, we got a long ways to go. My youngest is 7 years old. So we got at least 11 years to go to be having to deal with this co-parenting thing. So the more we can be on the same page, the better. How I face these challenges. So the main thing I remember, and it's something that my mom taught me, is kids gonna always come first. My kids' happiness and their well-being is going to always be the main thing on my mind, whether dealing with the holidays, co-parenting, or just co-parenting in general. I'm gonna always do what's best for me and mine. And that means we have to communicate. Also, something that I do is practice self-care. If anyone knows me, they know that I am big on just self-care and prioritizing my self-care, especially when the girls are not with me. When the girls are with me, we're always running around. We got practice. We have practice on Mondays for tumbling. We have dance practice. We have choir practice. They have after school program, and they have other things that they're involved in. So when they are spending that time with their dad, I make sure to prioritize self-care. That means I get to read a book. I love reading, but I don't get a lot of time to read when the girls are home because it's a lot of hustle and bustle. So I like to read books. I like to go out and have cocktails with my friends. I get to go to holiday parties and I don't have to worry about somebody babysitting for me or worry about them FaceTiming me and asking me when I'm coming home and those type of things. And so just making sure I'm being mindful of self-care and taking time for myself in a time where I know that they're well taken care of. They don't need anything from me. They call me when they want to see me. If they don't call me, that's okay too. I just make sure, I just want to know that they're happy. And so as long as they're happy, I'm happy. Another way that kind of helps me deal with the holiday blues, the bittersweetness of celebrating the holidays and not having my girls home full time, is relying on my support system. I'm so blessed. I have wonderful friends. I have my sister who actually lives in the house with me. And so just being able to have them around, and even if the girls are coming over later on in the day, I know this year we're getting up and we're doing brunch. We're going to have mimosas and it's going to be a good time. I actually have a couple of holiday events coming up this week where I get to go have a game night and have a happy hour planned. And so just relying on my support system and knowing that I have them there, I don't have to lay in bed all day and be sad. And I'm still going to see the girls, on Christmas Day. We did all the fun things a few days ago for Christmas. And so it's not like I'm not going to still have Christmas. Christmas is still going to be here. Christian still sent me his Christmas list. He's still expecting gifts. I know he's going to wake up in the morning and want to open up his gifts. Now, is he going to go to bed right after? Probably so. But that's okay. It's still Christmas and I still love it. It's my favorite time of the year and I'm still looking forward to it. Just remember, the holidays don't have to be perfect to be meaningful. I think a lot of times we get these ideas in our head that things have to be a certain way to be right. We have these traditions and these things that we do every year and we want them to be the same every time. But letting go of that and just knowing that it's still going to be okay. Like, it's all about the kids. And as long as the kids are happy, do what's right for you and your family and give yourself some grace. Like, it's okay. It's going to be fine. Everything may not look exactly like it looked last year. It may not look exactly like it looked like when you were together as a family unit, but you can still make memories. You can still make sure your kids have a wonderful Christmas. You can still enjoy the holiday season. It just may look a little bit different. Co-parenting during the holidays isn't always easy, but with a little bit of planning, communication, and lots of love, it is absolutely possible to create beautiful memories for your kids. Let me know in the comments, what's a co-parenting challenge that you faced and how did you resolve it? And if you like this video and this video was helpful, please let me know too. If you want to see more like this, if you want more sit downs talking about co-parenting, divorce, things like that, I'm very open to sharing my journey and my experience, especially if I know that it'll help somebody. So like I said, please let me know down in the comments. Share this video with someone that may need to see it. And please have a happy, happy holiday. Merry Christmas to you. Love and light, XOXO.